dealing with debt, you know how frustrating it can be, and so do we. We're Family Credit Management, and over the past 20 years, our experts have helped thousands of families conquer their debt. What we do is work with you and your creditors to find a customized solution to your finances. Isn't it time you took control of your financial future? As one of the nation's largest nonprofit credit counseling agencies, we're trusted experts who can really help. But you must take the first step.
Hey, good evening. We are back for another episode. My name is Letitia Griffin, and I am here with you today to talk to you about any problems that you may have related to your finances, any types of debt problems, issues, anything that you are going through. If you've got questions, feel free to give us a call, and you can just share those questions or concerns. Maybe there's something that you've been through and you'd like to share as far as related to your debt and your finances. Feel free to do so at 312-738-1060. Now, keep in mind, it's only about a 30-minute show. So if you don't get the chance to call in, you can also contact a certified counselor at Family Credit at 800-994-3328. I do want you to keep that as a resource for you to refer back to. Also, look at the website, familycredit.org. Take advantage of that. The great part about using the website is that you are able to chat online with a counselor, and you can get those questions that you may have answered right away. So feel free to use those resources. Family Credit's there with counselors on standby to answer any questions that you may have if you don't get a chance to ask them on air. So if you're looking for some help, that's where you find it. The past few weeks we've been talking a lot about dealing with your finances and debt, and so today we want to really just talk about what do you do if you do not feel that you're getting anywhere, you're not making any progress, and you don't know what to do as far as your debts are concerned. So we'll talk about just some crisis management tactics and tips and things that you can share and review. And again, like I said, if you don't get a chance to call in, feel free to contact a counselor. Now, we've been talking a lot about dealing with your debts, and a lot of the debts that people have, the problems that they have, they stem from their credit report. The problem is a lot of people think that their credit report is horrible. They think that, they have not made any progress with it. They don't feel like their score is good. So when you're thinking about those types of things, what's actually all in your score and what's a good score? So let's take a look at that really quick. When you think about your credit score, your score is a number. It ranges, and there's different types of scores. Right now, a lot of times we use the FICO scoring model. Now, with the FICO scoring model, your score ranges from 350 to 850. So if you've got a low score, and it's like, it can go as low as 350, keep that in mind. The perfect score would be about 850 or so. So if you got a score that's like 620, maybe you're about average. So you want to think about that as far as when you're looking at what you want to get together and how to increase your score. Perfect thing for you to do is pull your credit report. Look at your report, look at your score, and kind of compare and look at the score as a reference for everything that's on your report. You want to go over your report and look at all those things that you think that might be bad. Whether or not they are or not, you can call and ask for help. You can contact a counselor and just get some advice on what you should do with your report, and just look at what's going on with it, how you can make things better, and paying attention to the dates that the items are on your report. Now, we're talking about crisis management. One of the things that I wanted to talk about that a lot of people constantly ask is whether or not they should file bankruptcy. And so let's take we're going to delve into that just a little bit. But what I want you to know is that the information that I am giving you is just for educational purposes only. I am in no way an attorney or representing an attorney. So if you are just curious about your own situation and you want to get more details about whether you feel you should file bankruptcy, always contact an attorney and get that perspective from them. And a lot of times you may want to contact a couple of different ones just to find out which one is right for you. So that's something that you keep in mind. But when people typically look at filing bankruptcy here, there are two different chapters that you look at. And so with your bankruptcy, you can do what's called a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13. Now, with the Chapter 7, you are saying that I cannot do it. The debts that I have, there's no way that I can repay. I'm in crisis mode. I don't have any money, and these bills are too much for me. I need to get rid of them. So with the Chapter 7, you're wiping the slate clean. You are getting rid of all of the debts that you have, and you are setting up a plan for you to rebuild for the future. The thing about Chapter 7 though, it sounds like it's easy, but it's really not. It takes a lot of work for you to rebuild through it, but it can be done. So when you file a Chapter 7, your debts are put into this, let's say like a repayment plan. We're looking at all of the debts that you have with the Chapter 7, and they are going to be wiped clean. So we're looking at how much you pay out each month, the balance that's owed, and making a plan for that. Now, if you're considering bankruptcy, what you want to do is take a survey of everything that you have. Look at all the debts, tally them up, and see how much you actually owe. And think about this too. If you've got other assets like your car, your home, those are some things that you have to think about too, because when you file in bankruptcy, you're getting rid of everything. So you have to include all of those debts and obligations that you're paying out each month. And we'll talk about this in a little bit, but right now it looks like we've got our first caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I have a question about bankruptcy.
Okay.
So if I file, how long after it's through would I be able to get like a credit card or a car loan?
Okay. Now, when you're filing bankruptcy, your creditors know, the creditors and lenders out there, they know that you're filing too. So some of them may send you offers right away. And it is possible to get something just as quick as you file. But keep in mind, a lot of times those things, they come at a higher cost to you. Because you filed bankruptcy, there's lenders out there that know that you can't go to anyone else. They know you're not going to get approved by like a rated lender. So what they're going to do, they're going to offer you their products, and they're going to offer them at a higher interest rate. And a lot of times they're going to throw in a lot of fees as well, because they feel like, hey, guess what? No one else is going to approve you. They're approving you. So they'll just give you something because you need it. And at this point, you may seem desperate to those lenders out there. So they'll throw those offers at you. But you want to be careful. Make sure that you don't get yourself into trouble with them. Pay attention to the fees that they charge and the interest rate as well. And sometimes you have to get those things right now after you filed to prepare you for the future. So you may have to get something at a higher interest rate right now, but after your credit's improved, you maintain things for like 6 months or so, maybe even a year, you're able to get something else. Now, if you're looking to get further financing, let's say you're looking at getting a home, you will have to wait a little bit longer. You may have to wait a little bit longer than that. And typically, after you file bankruptcy, the wait time is about 2 to 4 years, depending on what your goals are and what type of loan you're trying to get. Because bankruptcy does play a huge factor into the credit that you get. You always want to think about those goals in the future too. So if you're going to be filing bankruptcy, what are some things that you're looking to do? Do you need to move anytime soon? Are you looking to get a home? Do you need an automobile? So these are things that you want to think about, because once you file bankruptcy, you might not be able to apply and get those things. And you do have to put in some work in order to make that happen for yourself. So you want to keep that in mind. One of the ways that people use to rebuild, not only by going out there and trying to get financing for a credit card or something like that, they want to look at doing a secured card. And we've talked about secured cards before too, is where you take up collateral and you put that down on an account, and that becomes your credit line. We'll revisit that. But first I wanted to touch on Chapter 13. We were talking about bankruptcy, so we'll touch on Chapter 13 after we take this next call. Hey caller, welcome to the show.
Oh, hello. I started a new job recently, and I'm making a lot more money, so I was kind of wondering if you had advice on just how to build a savings account, how to start saving. I've never been good at that.
Okay. With you getting this increase and this pay and salary, that's a great way for you to start saving. So think about this. I want you to think about it. If you got a job and you've been working it, you've been getting paid, you know what you're getting paid, and you are able to make ends meet with the salary that you have, your increase or bonus or whatever additional income that you may be getting in right now, that's something that you're not used to. You don't even have it yet, and it can be used as discretionary income. So what you can do is take whatever amount that you are getting from that increase and have that direct deposited into a savings account. You can have that set aside into another account that has nothing to do with your existing bank as well, because that's going to make it harder for you to actually get into the funds. So you want to think about that. Can I save that amount? And a lot of times when we start thinking about it, we say, okay, well, I'll take that amount and I'll put it up, but what if I want to go out, or what if I want to buy something, or what if I want to go to the mall, or just have fun? And those things that our mind creates and that we create, those extra obstacles and spending leaks that we create, they stop us from attaining our goals. So you do want to discipline yourself to not touch that money, to know that, okay, what I have now is working for me, so I'm going to let that money stay here, and I'm going to take this extra money that I'm giving and put it in another account. And that way you are able to start saving. That's a great way to save, by not even touching the money and treating it like you didn't even get that increase. So think about that and use that as a way to save. Now, looks like we've got another caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi. I was actually wondering, if I'm in a bankruptcy at the moment, is there any way that I could get student loans? Because I was really looking to go back to school.
Well, that's a great question. Now, a lot of what you're trying to do it does depend on whether or not you've completed your bankruptcy. So you do want to think about that. You want to make sure that your score is headed in the right direction as well. And you want to try not to take on additional debt. So when you're looking at going back to college or going back to school, sometimes there may be limitations on what you qualify for because of your credit. So you want to keep that in mind and talk to an advisor or financial counselor at the school just to see what options they offer. Typically they'll set you up based off of your income, and sometimes if they know that you filed bankruptcy, there may be another lender that they can refer you to, or another program that you can work with as well. There may be options in the school as well, as far as like doing some sort of work study or some type of way for you to balance out that tuition debt. So think about that, and when you are in the midst of looking, just keep that going and keep that in mind. Ask them about those repayment plans and those things that you're going through. Looks like we are still talking about bankruptcy today, and if you've got some other questions that you want to ask, feel free to call in and ask those questions. You can reach a certified counselor at 800-994-3328, and just make sure that when you call them, you ask all those questions that you may have. So if you are experiencing problems and you actually even thinking about bankruptcy, the best thing for you to do, like I said, is write down those debts and figure out which type of bankruptcy that you need to file. You need to talk to a lender, and an attorney, and figure out which route you should go. The next chapter that you can file is chapter 13, and with that is saying that I've got my debts together and I am putting them into a repayment plan, and it'll take me about 3 to 5 years to pay these debts off, and after that I'm done. These debts are done. So that's another option for you. One of the benefits of filing bankruptcy is the automatic stay. Bankruptcy is never considered great, but the automatic stay does help a lot of people who are experiencing harassment and who are getting calls. But there's another great option out there too. So if you are thinking about bankruptcy, you don't know what to do, you need some help getting things in order, you can actually talk to a certified counselor as well, and they can go over your report with you and help you figure out some options. So you can look at what you have and look at your budget, figure out for yourself how much each month can you actually afford to put towards your debts. With you doing that, you know for a fact how much you can realistically afford, and then you're looking at your budget to see how much you can discipline yourself to afford as well. And you're taking that into account, and what I want you to do is just work on setting up a repayment plan yourself, or like I said, a counselor can walk you through it, and you can do that by contacting a counselor and just getting other tips and ideas on how to go about taking care of your debt and taking control of your finances. A lot of times people are thinking about bankruptcy just because they are being harassed. And this is another big topic that we want to address. If you feel that you're receiving harassment from a creditor and you don't know what to do, there are some key steps that you can take yourself which will help you get out from under that debt and stop those phone calls. And that process is called the cease and desist. And we'll talk about the cease and desist because with that, typically what you're doing is you're telling those creditors that are calling you that you're calling me for a reason. You're calling me because you feel that I have debt. I have no way of paying that debt right now the way that you want me to, but I need you to stop calling. I'll set up a payment arrangement or whatever your case may be. And so you can get those creditors to stop calling by enacting what's called the cease and desist. And I do want you to contact a counselor and just find out more information about the cease and desist process. So that's another tool and vehicle that you can use so that you are not forced into filing bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is kind of just out there like a last move or a trump card. Like if you're being harassed, you're being garnished, and typically if you're being, the only reason that you may even want to consider it is if someone's taking your paycheck, like a real garnishment. And then a lot of people, they confuse garnishment with wage assignments. So we'll talk about that next, right after we talk to this next caller. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hi, what would you consider a good credit score to purchase a home?
Okay. When you're looking to purchase a home, the higher score you can have, the better. If you've got a score that's close to 800, that's the best thing that you can have when you're trying to purchase a home. But if you've got a score of at least 600, that's a good starting point. Now, the higher the score, the more options you're qualified for versus whether you can get an FHA loan or whether you can get a conventional loan. And so you want to look at those types of things when you're thinking about your score. Yes, I may qualify for a home, but is this the type of loan that I want to do? And you can talk to someone about that and just figure out which product will work for you, what options are out there for you. And those are just some things that you want to think about. Not only do you want to look at your score when you're trying to qualify for a home though, but make sure that you've got some income that you can show for the past 2 years. And also you want to make sure that your taxes have been filed. So those are just the little tidbits that you want to watch out for on home ownership. The next thing that I want you to think about, or we were talking about bankruptcy, so we'll get back into that. We were talking about the cease and desist process, and now we are on wage assignment versus wage garnishment, because I've had some instances where people are struggling, let's say like with payday loans or with these big finance companies out there where they've purchased furniture and they've signed over that if I don't pay you, you can take my paycheck. And a lot of people feel like these debts force them into bankruptcy. And if you have given permission to a creditor, let's say you contacted a creditor, you've gotten a payday loan, and you have to sign something that says that they can take your paycheck, that's you actually giving them permission. And so if you've given them permission to take money from your paycheck or from your employer, if you don't pay your debt, guess what? You can take that back. So that's called revoking your wage assignment. So if you have given them permission, you've assigned your wages to your creditor, you can take that back. Now, the difference between wage assignments and wage garnishments is that if it's a wage garnishment and it's a true wage garnishment, it has gone through the court system. Those, you can't really stop like that without some legal help. And that's why you would contact an attorney. If you've got some court paperwork and your employer's gotten some court paperwork that they're garnishing your wages, then that's something you need some legal help on. But if there's no court paperwork, your employer just got a letter because you signed over access and you've gotten a letter too, there's no court involved, then that's something that you can get out from under. So you want to look at that, look at your situation, and work on making things better for you. The way to do that is to simply write a letter to that creditor saying, hey, I gave you permission to attach my wages and I'm taking it back. So you can say, I no longer give you permission to contact my employer and to attach my wages. And you send that letter to them, you sign it after you sign it, you send it to them by either fax or you can mail it over. Best to mail it, certified mail, so that you have actual receipt that they received it. And you send that to them and they have to abide by it. Now you do want to set up payment arrangements on whatever debt you may have left. And if you need some help with that or you need help even getting out that cease and desist, feel free to contact a counselor. and they are able to provide you the assistance that you need and help you that way. So we've talked about some different types of scenarios that people go through and help them help you make the right decision that's for you. We don't want you to rush into any decision, especially with your finances involved. So you want to think about that. If you are thinking about bankruptcy, contact an attorney, get a couple of opinions. So you want to make sure that you get a couple of opinions. Also, contact a certified credit counselor and speak with them about your situation to make sure that you have other options or see what options are out there for you. Looks like we've got another caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, yeah, I actually have a question about credit cards. I have one credit card that is currently under promotion, but next month it's going to expire, that promotion. It's 0%. I would like to transfer that onto another 0% card. Do you recommend that, or do you have like an alternative option that you maybe I should consider?
Well, first you need to see if you have any other options available to you. Do you have any other credit card offers, or have you received something? And a lot of people are able to play that balance transfer game really well, so it's up to you to discipline yourself for that. And if you are able to get a 0% offer to cover interest on another account, then and you can do it disciplined, you can do it yourself, you know that you're not going to use that other card once you pay down that balance, then that's something that you may want to consider. It's not a bad idea, especially if you're able to get it at 0% interest. Because what's going to happen is once that rate expires, you will have interest on that other account. So you want to make sure that that balance is gone and at zero so that you don't have to pay that. Like I said, you can look at those offers. You can go to bankrate.com just to see if there are any other cards that you may qualify for. And also, you can even contact the credit card company that you have now, just even to see if they are willing to extend the promo that you have now, or if they have another promo that can take their place too. So that's something that you want to consider. The credit card companies, they all have these different tactics and tools that they're trying to use and entice you to get their different options and their different cards. They want you to use their perks. So they do want your business. They really don't want you taking your balance and transferring it to someone else. So if they know that they can match you or give you a better offer, they may just try and do that, especially if you've had good payment history with them in the past. Last thing they want to do is lose a customer. Also, if you do go ahead and you transfer that balance, make sure you leave that old card open. Leave that balance at zero, but don't close it, because if you close it, it will affect your score. But you want to make sure that it's paid 0% interest and you don't have any fees accruing on that account. With the balance at zero, you do want to pay attention to whether you are going to get an annual fee or if they're going to charge a monthly membership fee or anything like that too. So keep that in mind, and you want to make sure that you've got all of that in order before you contact and look for another offer. So those are just some tips on dealing with your credit. We've talked about that. We've talked about a lot of different ideas about crisis management and things that you can do to make sure you stay on top of your finances. So feel free to call us back on next week, and just if you've got any other questions and you want to ask on air. Now, in the meantime, if you don't, contact a counselor at Family Credit, 800-994-3328. You can ask any questions that you may have. So keep that in mind too. Now, we've got a lot of different events that are coming up in the city, so you want to make sure that you watch out for that and join into some of those programs out there. And if you've got some questions about different grants or things that may be available in the area, especially coming on, and there's other activities that you can join into, feel free to reach out to those offices. Reach out. You can contact 311 to find out more information about things that are going on in the city. And like always, if you have not filed your taxes, I really hope you have. But contact the Taxpayer Advocate's Office at 877-777-4778 to set up help, so that they can help you set up arrangements and look at different alternatives that you may have for that as well. Because it's not too late. Even though you were supposed to have your taxes done, you still want to get out there and try and avoid as much as you can, avoid those fees that they will charge and the interest. Now, like I said, if you've got some more questions, feel free to join us back next week, and we will talk to you then. Stay tuned for next week, and like I said, you can contact a counselor, 800-994-3328, or at familycredit.org. See you then.